Okay, so I just shared my rose story with a lady. I went to a Bible study yesterday and shared with her just to keep things open and have no secrets in my Christian life. I shared with her the man who gave me a rose when I went out the other night. He had all eyes for me. You could see it in his eyes. And, we just did the Bible story of Esther. And it was neat how God had the night before allowed this to happen in the imagery. I can't even talk right this morning, is still in my head from that. So Esther was, God used her for this very time, it says in the Bible, to save the Jews. I still need to learn my Bible history better, but basically they were kept captive because of, just the fact that they were Jews. And she was told not to tell the king when she was chosen as queen that she was a Jew. And Mordecai was not someone who would bow down to Haman, and it angered Haman greatly. And he actually wanted him hung on a pole and all the Jews to be wiped out. And I think to this day, Jews still celebrate that day. So basically, the king had chosen Esther because of her beauty and her mannerism, the way she behaved. He chose her to be the queen, and he was deeply in love with her. And he gave her anything, basically up to half the kingdom that she wanted. And when she chose to save her own people over money, she was rewarded greatly for that. So the same thing here. Men are to love women, okay? They are to love them so much that they would give half of a kingdom, up to a lady that they're in love with. When I was getting my nails done, there was a lady who was from Manitou here, and she was telling me some of the hometown stories. And there's a castle over here that a man built for his wife. He loved her so much, he built her a castle. So as I had this situation I shared where I was very awkward with this man who jumped and ran to get me a ride, a shuttle over at a hotel, a 5-star hotel. He also picked me a rose out of like the 576 roses that this hotel has. He wants to see me again, etc. And I'm married, so that ain't happening. But he was telling me, he didn't know I was married, and he was treating me very well. And actually, I felt like he was actually going a little too far, and it made me very uncomfortable. And so as I shared with this woman, just some of this stuff at woman to woman, she was saying, where you've come from an abusive situation, you're going to see this very differently. And I truly did think the man was just being very kind to a point. He was being kind. But at the same time, it made me uncomfortable. And, when this happens to you, a lot of times you need to learn to rise above it. Okay. So when you have had abusive situations in your past, and then you have men in your life who are very kind to you, and they're just plain kind and treating you nicely, you need to understand that is the standard you should have for yourself. You shouldn't feel like you need to put up with the bad boy, or you need to not have somebody step up for you. I just finished a class about relationships, which was really eye-opening. And any man who is using you, he will do the minimum, the very minimum that he has to keep you. And you know what? That isn't the way it's supposed to be. You want a man who puts in the effort and shows you that he cares, and he's willing to move mountains for you. And that is the standard you want. And when I'm talking about this, I'm also thinking of young girls who, a lot of times you're young and you don't know. You just don't know. You have no standards. You have not been taught standards. So for example, I had a situation again where if one of my sons wants to date somebody, the standard is the Oliver North's standards of you are going to be like this. You are not going to treat my daughter like this. And if you make her cry, I'm going to make you cry. So these are the kind of standards you want. And hopefully, if you've had a father who has watched over you, he's going to have some high standards. I did not have that. So, you want, if you're a young girl right now listening to this, you need to value yourself, because if you value yourself, you're going to have natural boundaries and you are going to expect men to treat you very well. You're not going to get used. You're not going to have sex just because they want to have sex. You're not going to feel you need to just make them happy or take care of their desires because that's what they want. You need to know you're valuable. A man needs to work for you. And this is something that men also value. They value work. They're not going to value something that they don't have to work for. So you want to have enough values that a man has to work for you for a while before you even think about marriage. So that's what I got today, guys, and I hope this helps, some of the girls out there before you even get into situations where you choose to give yourself away before you're even married. And if you've been brought up that being promiscuous, as I was brought up that way, that it's okay, that it's a way of validation, it's a way of feeling good about yourself or whatever, that is totally wrong. So I would encourage a young woman to take the higher road and have some standards before you get married.